So we are going to begin with the next unit, unit number 3. In that, we will begin with the concept called as control statements. Okay. Now, before we understand these control statements, let us see the things which we have studied so far. Okay. Say when the programs which we have written so far, let me open up one single program and show you. Okay, let us take up any program, any single program which we have done. The program execution sequence we need to understand here. Execution sequence means the order in which the statements gets executed. Okay, now we know that when the program starts execution, it begins with the main function, right? Whenever we hit that ./a.out or ./a.exe, the program execution will begin from what? The function called as a main. So inside this main function, this is the flower bracket, that is opening bracket, and then this is the closing bracket. So from line number 8, the execution will begin. So the line number 8 will be executed first, then line number 9. Then it further proceeds line by line until it reaches the block, the line number 23. That is until it completes all its statements execution. The execution will go how? In a sequential order. The execution proceeds in a sequential order, one line after the another line over here. Okay. Now there might be some situations where we want to deviate from this particular execution sequence. Deviate in the sense what? Now, for an example, say like this. Okay, let me write some statements. This is the opening bracket. Okay, and then this is the corresponding closing bracket. Say I'm executing line number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, say 6, like that. Different lines are there. 7, 8, like this. Different lines I have written. Now, I know that the execution will be what? It is a sequential. So first line will be executed, then second line will be executed, third line will be executed. Now fourth line, now here based upon certain conditions, I want to further execute the line number 5. Okay, or I want to skip this and then proceed with the next lines. There might be situation or there might be certain conditions like that. If you have given attention in the algorithms, we had studied those branching things. Based upon certain conditions, if the condition is true, we will perform certain activities or we will execute certain steps. If the condition is false, we will skip that one and then we will proceed further, right? Based upon certain conditions, we want to execute further statements or we want to skip that one and proceed with the next statement. For an example, consider a very simple conditions like now at the line number 4, I want to check certain condition. If that condition is true, if it is true, then you say that execute 5 and 6, right? Say if the condition is true, then execute the line number 5 and line number 6. If it is not, then continue from 7th line, continue from the line number 7. In this way, I want to perform, right? It is a very simple, if I want to give an analogy, let's say, let me try to give an analogy here. Is there anyone who is fond of riding the vehicles, long rides? Any student who loves to drive long rides on the bike? Okay, let me take up one person, say Siddharth. Siddharth is very fond of long rides on the bike, okay? And he is riding the vehicle, he's riding his bike, and at a certain stage, he wants to take a quick break. Okay, he wants to halt and he wants to say he just loves the coffee. He wants to drink a coffee. Okay, on the nearby road, he finds that there is a shop, a small tea selling shop. And he goes there, he stops there and he asks whether, do you have a coffee? Okay, then if there is a coffee, then what he will do? He will drink the coffee and then we'll proceed with the bike riding. Now he's only looking for the coffee. If there is no coffee, then he don't want to compromise. He will say, if there is no coffee, then I will not drink anything, right? Then he will continue his writing, right? So if the condition is true, he will do certain task. That is, if the coffee is there, he will drink coffee and he will wait for some time and then continue with the writing. If there is no coffee available, he don't want to drink anything else, right? That is what the condition he is putting. If there is no coffee, he will not drink anything, then he will just continue the riding the bike, right? The same way, if you try to apply similar kind of logics or the analogies here, if there are certain conditions, then you perform or execute certain statements. If it is not, then you don't need to execute this 5 and 6 and then continue with the 7. So in this case, we can have two possibilities. Okay, two possibilities in the sense the program execution can have two possibilities when the condition is true. When the condition is true. Now, when the condition is true, in this case, it will execute line number 1, then 2, then 3, then 4 will be checked for the condition. If it is true, then it will execute 5, 6, okay, 7 and 8. In this fashion, the execution statement will be done. Line number 4 is the condition. If this condition is true, 5 and 6 will be executed and then the further 7 and 8 will be done. What if the condition results in a false? When the condition becomes false, the execution is like this: 1, 2, 3, 4 is the condition check. If this condition is now resulting in a false, then what it has to do? It has to skip 5 and 6 and then continue from the 7 and 8. So notice here, what is the change? We have written 8 statements. We have written 8 statements, but all these 8 statements will not be executed all the time, depending upon the certain condition. If the condition at the line number 4, if you notice both the things from 1 to 3 or 1 to 4, it will be executed. At the statement 4, condition will be checked. If this condition is true, then 5 and 6 will be executed and then remaining all 7, 8 will be done, right? But the condition at line number 4 is false. That is in the second scenario. If it is false, then it will not execute these things. It will skip 5 and 6. It will skip 5 and 6 and then it will execute 7 and 8. Do you see here that the statements or the execution of the program, that is flow of execution, right? What we call it as flow of execution, varies depending upon the condition. Depending upon the condition. When the condition is true, it behaves in a different way. When condition is false, it is behaving in a different way, right? If we want to handle these type of situations, or if we want to handle these type of scenarios in the program execution, then we require something called as the control statements. Broadly, the control statements are categorized into 2 different types. The first one is, we call it to be a branching, okay, or sometimes we call simply as a conditional control statements. First one is branching control statements and the second one is looping control statements. Okay, broadly, we can categorize the control statements into 2 types. One is the branching. In the branching, sometimes we also call it as a conditional control statements, and the second one is looping control statements. Okay, in today's session, we will begin with the first type, that is branching. Okay, the branching is what the explanation I gave you in this particular example. Branching is depending upon certain condition. If that condition is satisfied means if the condition is true, perform or execute certain steps. If condition results in a false, skip those statements and continue further. Okay, if the condition is true, then execute 5 and 6. Then it will continue with the 7 and 8 that is there. But if the condition is false, then skip this 5 and 6 and then continue with the 7 and 8. Is this understood so far, the explanation what I gave, or are there any challenges? Any difficulties? If you are finding difficulties, don't hesitate to speak out. If you are not following, let me know. I will explain it once again with some examples.
Sir, please explain it once again.
Yes, sure. Now this time I will take up one simple example here. Okay, I will begin with the first type of the branching. In the branching, the first one is, we call it as a simple if statement. With this particular simple if statement, I will explain the example with an example. Simple if statement. Okay, now simple if is something, the syntax of simple if is, I will write the syntax. Syntax is if, now here if is a keyword. If condition, then within the brackets, I will write certain statements here. These dotted lines indicates here the some statements to be executed. And here I will write the statement, say, let me give it to be statement X, Y, Z, or let me give some other number. Here, let me give it to be statement 1, statement 2, okay. Like that, multiple statements are there. And then at the end, I have written statement N. Now, this is the one which I am highlighting here. This is the syntax. Syntax means the rules of writing the simple if statement, which is part of branching control statement. Okay. Now, what happens here? The condition, okay, this condition will be validated. Validated means this, basically this condition is an expression. Okay, the condition is an expression which results in true or false. True means a numeric value, that is 1, and false as numeric value 0. Okay, now in order to understand this, which results in a true or a false, means you should know which type of operator have the result as true or a false. Can anybody tell me what we have studied different types of operators, right? Among those operators, what type of the operators gives the result in the form of true or false, or 1 or 0? What type of operators are there which provides the result in the form of true or false?
Relational operator.
Relational operator.
Yes, very good. Relational operators. That means what? The condition in the if, the condition. This condition. Mute student, mute yourself. Come away from the TV room where you are sitting. Who is that student? Come out of that room and sit in a different hall or different room. Okay. Now, in the if, within the bracket, I have specified here condition. So what I said condition means it is nothing but an expression. So expression means here one type of the relational operator which gives us the result in the form of true or a false. Since it is giving in the form of true or a false, then the condition can become true or condition can become false. If the condition is true, then statement 1 and 2 will be executed. In this case, I have given only 2 statements or any other statements. Okay. You notice here, after the if and condition, there is a open flower bracket and there is a closing flower bracket, right? This we call it to be a block. We call it to be a block. Sorry, spelling mistake. We call it to be a block. Block means a collection of statements. Okay. If you want me to give a definition for a block, block is nothing but it is collection of statements which are enclosed within a pair of brackets. Block means it is a collection of statements which are placed within the pair of brackets. Now, if you notice here, there are multiple statements, right? All these statements are where they are placed. They are placed within the pair of flower brackets. Pair means there is an opening bracket and then there is a closing bracket. So within these two, whatever lines are there, we call it to be a block. Okay, and when we are studying the conditional statements like a if, or any type of the conditional statements, then we can have two types of blocks. Two types of blocks. One we call it to be a true block. Second one we call it to be a false block. We call it to be a false block. So in this example, in the simple if statement, we get only one type of a block, which we call it to be a true block. Why we call it to be a true block? Because when this condition becomes true, when this particular condition becomes true, the statements which are placed inside this particular block, will be executed. When this condition becomes true, the statements which are placed inside this block will be executed. That's why we call this type of block to be a true block. We call it to be a true block. Means all these statements will be executed when this condition becomes true. If this condition becomes true, it will execute these statements. And in this example, the one which we are studying, the simple if, there is no false block. There is no false block. Okay. So if you want to understand the flow, let me take one simple example here and explain that. Okay. That would be very easy for you to understand. Now, I will remove these things. Let me take up a new program itself for the reference. Take a new program. Okay. Hash include stdio.h void main. Okay, then save the program. I will give the name as 07 underscore simple if dot c. Simple if dot c. Okay, fine. Now here say that I will take one realistic example. Try to understand here. Now you have gone for a shopping. You are doing shopping. Right, in the Diwali season and all, there will be a some type of offers. Say that you are trying to do a shopping here. Say let me have some value variables int bill amount, okay, and then say a float. Let's have a float as discount. Okay, discount. Let me have this bill amount also as a float itself for the better calculation. Okay, bill amount, discount, and total amount. AMT, let me write it as a shorthand, total amount. So say there are three variables: bill amount, discount, and total amount. How it is? Say, suppose if the bill amount, if it is greater than or equals to, say, 5,000 rupees. If the bill amount is greater than or equal to 5,000 rupees, then the shop owner says that you get a discount. Okay. If this is true, then you get a discount of 10%. Discount of 10% in the overall the bill amount what you have purchased. Okay, are you understanding the scenario here? So you're trying to do a shopping, and the shop owner says that if you purchase the materials, goods, and if the amount is greater than or equal to 5,000, if you shop for more than 5,000 rupees, then I will give you a discount of 10%. Right? If it is not so, then the person will not get any type of a discount. Right? So let us try to simulate that particular situation in this particular program. Assume that initially, okay, discount is 0.0 itself. Discount is 0.0 itself. Why 0.0? I have taken it to be a floating point number. So initially I will set that discount to be 0.0. Okay, then I will ask user to print a statement. Printf, enter the bill amount. Okay, then scanf %f, comma, and say bill amount. Then now based upon this bill amount, I am going to calculate whether discount can be applied or discount is not applied of a 10%. How I can do that one? I need to check, I need to have a condition here, right? And I know the condition, the syntax is what? If, and then the condition I need to provide, right? So I will write here if. See, when I type the if, you notice here the color of this text got changed because it is a keyword. If certain condition, okay, and then if that is true, I will write its corresponding block. So this is the true block, right? So what condition I have to put here, that I need to decide. So what the shop owner has said, if the bill amount is greater than or equal to 5,000, right? So I will write the condition to be if bill amount is greater than or equal to 5,000 rupees. If it is greater than or equal to 5,000 rupees, then what has to be done? I need to give, the shop owner has to give a discount of 10%, right? Discount of 10% means what? So discount, now it will become what? Discount is equals to 10%. How do you write in a numeric values? Is it 0.1? 10% means what? 10 divided by 100. Divided by 100 is what? Is it 0.1? 0.1, right? Yes. So discount is 0.1. Following this one?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right? Then now tell me, how do I calculate the total amount? So total amount equals to bill amount minus
discount.
It's going to be bill amount multiplied by discount. It's going to be bill amount into discount. We need to subtract, right? We need to subtract, okay, the discount with respect to what? The total bill what we have purchased. So I need to multiply that bill amount with the discount and then subtract from the original bill amount. Okay, and then print the value. So printf total bill is equals to percentage f slash n double quote complete, and then here total amount. Don't worry, I will explain it once again. Okay, total amount. Now let us give a try here. Let us execute and check whether the program is behaving correctly or are there any errors, syntax errors or logical errors. CD, C, GCC, and file name is, I think it is 7. Yes, correct, 7. Are there any syntax errors? Let's see. Okay. Discount with no linkage. So where is that? Line number 5 and 8. Is it because of EF? Let's check. No. Redeclaration. Where I'm redeclaring the discount here? Float. And discount is equals to 0.0f. Let's give it to be only 0. Okay, I got the mistake here. The problem is in this line, see here, there is no semicolon. There is no semicolon. It was only comma. Okay, let's clear and then run the program. No errors. Okay, execute. Now let's say if I enter bill amount to be say 4,000 rupees. 4,000 rupees means will the discount will be applied or not? Discount will not be applied because the bill amount is less than 5,000 rupees. This time, let's go with the bill amount exactly as 5,000. Okay. Now, when the bill amount is 5,000, what has happened? Total amount I'm getting 4,500. Why this 4,500 I'm getting? Because there is a discount getting calculated. There is a discount getting calculated. 500 rupees discount will be there. Okay, that is 10% of 5,000 is 500 rupees that will be deducted. Okay, now let's see here what is happening. This is the execution. This is the block. The execution of this block is getting changed. How it is getting changed? Based upon the condition over here. Okay, so the execution will begin from the main function. Line number 5, 7, 8, 10, 11 will be executed. Then line number 13, there is a condition. How I can come to know whether there is a condition or not? Based upon the keyword if. The keyword if says that it is one of the control statement. What type of control statement? Branching control statement, right? In the branching control statement, there is a if. If means after if within the bracket, okay, within the bracket what I have written, that acts as the condition, right? So what is the condition here? Condition here is an expression. What type of expression it is? It is an relational operator. It is an relational operator. So what is the relation it is trying to check? It is trying to check greater than or equals to, right? Greater than or equals to. On the left hand side, I have bill amount, and the right hand side, I have 5,000. So it will try to validate whether this bill amount is greater than or equal to 5,000. In the initial stage, in the first example here, when you look at here, in the first example, I entered the bill amount to be 4,000 rupees, right? That means the bill amount here is 4,000. So how the condition will be checked? It will check 4,000 greater than or equals to 5,000. So what do you expect? Result as a true or a false? 4,000 greater than or equal to 5,000. What is the result?
False.
False. Means the condition is now resulting in a false. False means what should happen? It should skip the execution of this block. It has to skip the execution of this block. Which block? The true block. True block will not be executed. It will skip that part and then it will go to the next statement. Means the flow of execution as it started from the top and it has reached 13. After 13, the condition results into be a false. So the next statement gets executed at line number 18. It will skip this line. So the next statement is what? Total amount is equals to bill amount minus bill amount into discount. So the discount value is 0 here, right? How it is calculated? See here. I will just comment and show you here. Okay, total amount equals to bill amount. Bill amount is what? 4,000 minus bill amount into discount. That is 4,000 into discount. Discount is what now? What is the value of discount at this stage? Who can tell? Is it 0.0 or is it 0.1?
0.0.
0.0.
It is 0.0 only. It was the initial value and this statement was not at all executed. So the discount value remains as 0.0. Okay. Now tell me, there are two operators here. Basically, there are three operations getting performed. One is assignment operator. Second is minus sign. Then there is a multiplication. So assignment means what? It is right to left. That is, this value has to be executed first. Here I have subtraction and I have multiplication. Among this one, which gets calculated first? Is it subtraction or the multiplication?
Multiplication.
Right? Multiplication. That means 4,000 into 0.0 means what? It gives me a 0 value only. It gives me 0 value only. That is 4,000 minus 0. 0 into 4,000 is 0 itself. So the final value is what? 4,000 rupees. So this 4,000 will get updated where? It will be updated to the total amount variable. Total amount variable. So when I print that one, total bill is equals to that 4,000 will get displayed. That's why the result here is total bill is 4,000. Okay, this happens when this condition becomes false. Now assume that in the second instant here I have entered the bill amount to be what? 5,000 rupees. That means now the bill amount is what? Here 5,000. Now tell me, is this 5,000 greater than or equal to 5,000? What is the result? Is it a true or a false?
True.
Condition is true. Very good. The condition is true. That means what? The condition in the if is becoming true, that means it has to execute the true block. It has to execute the true block. True block, how it will come to know? After the if, there is an open flower bracket and there is a corresponding closing flower bracket. Within these two brackets, there are statements. There can be a possibility of only one statement, or there can be a many statements, multiple statements. In this case, there is only one statement, so this statement will be executed. So what do we have the statement here? Discount is equals to 0.1. Okay, so this gets executed. And then flower bracket closing will be done, and then it will come to the total amount. So total amount this time is 5,000 minus 5,000 into. Now, what will be the discount value now?
0.1.
The discount value will be what? Is it 0.0 or is it 0.1?
0.1.
0.1, sir.
0.1. 0.1. Very good. Discount is 0.1. So now this will be calculated, right? As we know, this subtraction and multiplication has the highest priority. So this will be calculated. 5,000 into 0.1 is what? It will be 500 rupees. That is 5,000 minus 500. Then this 5,000 minus 500 will be calculated. That is 4,500. That 4,500 will be updated into the variable total amount. And when this statement, that is line number 22, gets executed, total amount will be displayed as 4,500 as it has happened here. Now let us give a try of another value. Say bill amount is 10,000 rupees. 10,000 rupees means what? The condition becomes true or condition becomes false?
True.
Condition becomes true. That means then there will be a discount of 1%. That 1% of 10,000 is 1,000 rupees. So total bill amount is 9,000 rupees. Right? So this is one of the example of the simple if statement. Right? So simple if statement is what? It is one of the control statement. What type of control statement? It is a simple if. It's a type of branching statement. Okay. Based upon certain condition, the condition will be validated. If the condition is true, then it will execute the statements under the true block. If the condition is false, then it will skip the execution of the true block and then proceed with the next statements. Okay, and condition is nothing but it is an expression, right, which results in the true or false value. And we know that the operator corresponding to that will be definitely an relational operators, because relational operators always gives the results in the form of true or a false. Okay, this is the syntax of that one. So diagrammatically, if we want to display, if I want to tell you in a diagrammatic manner, let's see here. Let me open up Paint and try to draw and show you the corresponding. Okay, give a big size. The condition is represented with a rhombus. I think you have studied this one, no? In the algorithm, I have explained.
Yes, sir.
Is used for checking the condition, right? So the execution flow will start from the top. It will come over here. Okay. Then through MS Paint, I cannot draw it perfectly. Let me give a try. Okay. So the execution started from the top and it has reached to a rhombus. Rhombus means the condition will be checked. So there is a condition here. So condition usually we write if, then within the bracket we mention the condition. Okay, I will write a short for condition. If this condition is true, then it has to perform certain task. It has to perform certain task. Okay, let me give it a try one more time. Drawing a straight line. Okay. If the condition is true, it will perform one particular task. Okay, and that task usually we call it to be a true block. We call it to be a true block. Okay, and here there will be a set of statements which it will be executing, right? It will be executing. So we call it to be true block. Okay, and in that there will be some statements will be executed. Okay, and then once that is done, it will navigate to the next set of statements. So here we will usually write letter T. T means if this condition is true, do this part, or else if it is false, then it has to perform the other task which are written in the false value. So this is false. Okay, and then now understand here, when the condition is true, it is going through the true block. If not means it has to come back and join to the same position. It has to join to the same position. Let me draw it. Okay, now so when the condition is false, it will execute the remaining statements. It will execute the remaining statements. Now, understand this one. This is the diagrammatic representation of the simple if, right? So the topmost here, there is an arrow towards the downwards to the rhombus, that is the diamond shape. That means the flow is starting from here, and then it is coming to if condition. Now this if condition can be true, can be false, right? The condition may result in a true or it may result in a false. If it results in a true, then what has to be done? It has to execute the statements which are under the true block, right? All the statements under the true block will be executed, and then it will proceed with the execution of remaining statements. If this condition results in a false, then it will skip the true block, and then it will continue with the execution of remaining statements. If you just try to understand that with respect to the code here, the simple program over here, let me put it side by side. Okay, now notice here, this arrow mark, the top arrow mark which is coming towards the if condition, indicates the statements starting from here up to the line number 13. Up to the line number 13 indicates this arrow mark. Okay, and then there is a condition, the rhombus sign, that is line number 13. Right? Then if this condition results in a true, then it is going to execute what? The true block. It is going to execute the true block. True block in this code is nothing but this line number 15, which are placed within the 14 and 16. Right? This is the true block. Then once this true block is executed, then it will continue with the remaining statement. Remaining statement is what? After the line number 17. So this will be carried away. That happens when the condition is true. Now, what if the condition is false here? When the condition is false, it will skip this one. It will not execute the true block. It will not be executed. That means the true block, this will be skipped, and what it will execute? The remaining statement. Remaining statement is what? From line number 18 onwards. Is this understood, or are there any still difficulties? Any difficulties, students?
No, sir.
Any one of you, if you are having difficulties, if you want me to explain once again, I'm happy to explain. No worries in that, but try to understand the concepts here. Okay, I will just quickly give a recap of that one, right? So we were discussing what? The control statements. Control statements are required in a programming logic to alter or to change the flow of execution. Why do we want to change the flow of execution? We want to change the flow of execution depending upon certain conditions. If the condition is satisfying, we want to perform certain scenarios. If the condition is false, we want to perform or execute some other set of statements, right? So the conditional statements are broadly categorized into two types. One is the branching, okay, and the second one is looping, is called as looping. So we are studying the first part, that is branching. In the branching, there are different statements. The one which is very simple, okay, we call it to be a simple if, okay, or sometimes we call it as if statement, simple if or a if statement. So if statement, how it works, the if statement will work in this way, right? The condition, if we need to write, the if we have to write, and after the if we need to provide within the brackets a condition. The condition is always an expression which results in the true or a false. That means it is an relational operator. Okay, then if that condition is true, then the true block will be executed. A block means what? Block means the collection or a set of statements are grouped together. Set of statements grouped together. Okay, within a pair of flower brackets, right? So these statements will be executed when the condition is true. If the condition is false, then these statements will be skipped and then the remaining statement will be executed. That is simple if. This is the syntax of that one. Then diagrammatically, we can write the same thing in this way. Okay, diagrammatically means it's kind of a flow diagram, right? Flow chart. You can call it to be a flow chart of a if statement. If the condition is checked, if this condition is true, execute the true block and go back to the remaining statements. If the condition is false, means false in the sense, don't execute this one, but just continue with the remaining statements, right? And a program demonstration for that, we had taken a simple program to calculate the discount, right? So in the discount, what we had taken example here, a person goes to a shopping in order to do a shopping to a particular shop, and the shop owner says that there is a discount. You get a one that is 10% of the discount when the bill amount is greater than or equal to 5,000, means minimum 5,000 rupees you need to purchase. If you purchase, so then you get a 10% of a discount, right? In order to handle that one, we have taken care of a branching statement, that is simple if statement. So if the bill amount is 5,000, so we are trying to check that condition by writing an relational operator. Bill amount greater than 5,000. Based upon the bill amount, this relational operator can give a true value or a false value as the result. If it is true, then the discount will be calculated as 10%. The 10% is 0.1. If this results in a false value, means the discount will retain as the previous value, that is 0.0 itself. And then the overall, that is total bill amount, will be calculated using this formula. And later we will just display the total amount here. Is that understood, students? We will take up one more example in the next class. Okay, and we can discuss the further on the simple if statement. Any difficulties, students? Anybody is having any difficulties? At least respond yes or no, so that I can come to know whether they are. Because whenever if there is no response, that indicates two things: you understood everything or you didn't understand anything, isn't it? So give a response, either acknowledge in a chat box or you can unmute and speak. Okay, no worries. Okay, fine then. Put in your attendance, students. Any doubts?
No, sir. No.
Okay.